is the facts. Even if they want you to continue like this, even if you think you have no power, that you have to continue like this, you can't. You can't. If they haven't pushed you to your wall yet, maybe somebody is still there blocking you. They will push you. I told we're having a chat with, again, yesterday I was with my friends. And I said, do you know why people sometimes don't know the type of mess they are in Nigeria? That you went to school and you have no real job. Or you have a job, but you can't really take care of yourself, talk less of taking care of another person's daughter. If you understand the type of mess you are, but people don't feel them. Back then, like if you say 10 years or 5 years ago, the reason why majority of you didn't feel this heat much was because there were still people that were carrying out the way we have Nigerians in the diaspora taking up bills. There were Nigerians inside Nigeria, the MVPs. Inside that same Nigeria, they carry responsibility of God knows how many people. They don't leave Nigeria, they there. Pay school fees of this one, pay house rent of that one, pay hospital bill of this one. Well, you know something? In the last 10 years, the number continued to dwindle and dwindle. People where they help people save, don't they turn to ownership, because most of them not even have style ownership. That's what we say. Like, you see people who are able to, who are capable, they are not living abroad. They are there. They are running things. As bad as you say Nigeria is, right? They are there. They are running things. But year in, year out, they are seeing their losses. Every now and then they look at themselves and see their mates who are no longer in Nigeria and what they have been able to kind of, but yet they will tell you, I'm not going anywhere. I'm okay here. But year in, year out, the number of people they are able to help continue to reduce as the inflation continues to hit into their money, eat into their finances. So they themselves have to struggle to stay afloat. And that is why you see so many poor people now. So obvious now. Because people where they carry people self, they need carrier now. That is what APC did to you. Now they will give you money. Or even if they don't give you money, you're on social media. You've lost so much, but you have energy. Whenever they begin that, their tribal, ethnic, and religious Olympics championship on social media, you are there, you are at the forefront. We will deal with you. We are better than you. We are superior than you. We enslaved you. Our tribe is the most superior tribe. We are the number one. You are busy doing your tribal, ethnic, religious Olympics, but they are stealing your lives away. They are reducing you to nothing. And you still have that energy. So they're going to come to you and ask you to come and defend them. But Inebe, F Young, on Robbing Minds, on Channels TV, kind of gave some insight into what people should know, why people would protest. Even though they ask him, do you think they would protest? Well, we shall see. Let's go listen to F Young. He's a lawyer in Inebe. This guy, somebody locked him up for almost a year, a judge, because the judge felt like he's so active on social media and he was arguing with her inside her court. And he had that locked up for a month, rather.
Cast your mind back to 2020, EndSARS, the protest. Do you think that young people can organize themselves that same way in 2024, as there have been a lot of murmurings, a lot of WhatsApp messages, a lot of messages going around about a possible protest?
Thank you. I think for me, the lesson from EndSARS is that when Nigerians, particularly the young people of this country, galvanize and organize towards a common purpose, they can achieve a lot. if there is one thing that we have learned from EndSARS, it is that the ruling elite, the political class, is terrified by any form of organization by young Nigerians. Now, the EndSARS protests witnessed for the first time, at least in my adult life, where young people came together across different parts of the country to demand police reform. But the trigger was the notorious Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS. However, you cannot deny the fact that what precipitated that protest was largely failure of governance. So one would have thought that a government that is historically aware, a government that has a sense of historical consciousness, would have learned important lessons from EndSARS, namely that it is important, it is critical to engage with the young people of our country, to begin to do things differently, and to ensure that you listen to the complaints of our people. But what have we seen since 2020?
Do you think this government is afraid of this youth, or do you think this government has been able to somehow find a way to not even allow youth to come together to protest?
I think what we have seen is the notorious strategy, if I should characterize it as such, the divide and rule. We see the government or people sympathetic to the government push this divisive narrative on social media. So when they see that young people are beginning to organize themselves, they try to poison the minds of our youth by introducing ethnicity, religious bigotry, and partisan politics into the conversation. And we see that trajectory on social media where arguments on issues, debates becomes polarized. And that, in some sense, has, reduced what is supposed to be the collective aspirations of our youth. But at the same time, I think to a large extent, people are being pushed to the wall. It is getting to a point that the question is no longer whether people are going to protest or whether indeed there is a reason to protest, but the form of the protest and the date of the protest. And I hear people say, well, you need leadership, there has to be organization. And for me, I don't think that argument persuades some of us. Some of us are not persuaded by it. I don't think young people necessarily need to come together to say, oh, we are nominating person A, B, C, and D to be our representatives. Because the issues that is leading or is making people to call for a round of protest, another round of protest, are issues that are common to most Nigerians. Hunger, unemployment, inflation, the fact that despite what the country is experiencing, an economy that has almost collapsed, we still see profligacy. We still see the government waste resources. So the youths are watching, young people are watching. They are looking at the convoy of the president. They are looking at the aircraft that the president is purchasing. They are looking at the yachts that they want to buy. They are looking at the earnings of National Assembly members. They are looking at the expenditure that we are seeing on a daily basis. And they are asking themselves, how do you tell us not to protest? How do you tell us not to come together? And yet you are dissipating our resources. So I believe that the question is not whether people are going to protest. The question is, for how long will that protest last?
So do you feel that this Nigerian youth feels safe enough to hit the streets, considering what happened during the EndSARS protest? Because it went on for quite...
Anarchy loans. Anarchy loans.
Will I say this madam, she know they read the room. Tell her.
Feel that the average Nigerian youth is ready to risk their life or feel safe enough that it is their right to hit the streets?
I think most Nigerian youths have taken inspiration from the from the very resounding statement of the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who had tweeted in the past warning the police not to harass Nigerians or to harass people who are protesting. And if you go on social media, you will also see documented statements issued in the past by this president, encouraging public protest. It is the same for other people in the government. So when we look back, I believe that Tinubu is actually a supporter of protests. His public statements in that regard are very clear. And those who are going to come out to protest, they are not going to be inhibited by intimidation, by threats, because what is the issue really about? The policeman on the streets who is being given an AK-47 to shoot at a protester, when he goes back home, he's also affected by the economy. Our soldiers that are being deployed to stop people from protesting, they are also victims of the misgovernance. Even personnel of the State Security Service, they have families. They are affected by what is going on. So I think we have gotten to a point that we are all collective victims of the misrule. So whether the government wants to engage, whether the government wants to have a conversation, whether the government wants to listen or not, it is up to them. But one thing is certain. I don't think Nigerians are willing to be a conquered people. I don't think we are ready to live in a country where we cannot exercise our constitutional rights. Because that is the point that we have to stress, that protesting is not a gift, right? It is not something that the government say, oh, I have decided to give it to you today. As a matter of fact, Section 39 of our Constitution guarantees the right to freedom of expression. Section 40 of the Constitution guarantees the right to peaceful assembly and association. And in exercising that right, you don't need the consent of the police. Indeed, even when the law enforcement agencies, for example, as they typically do, come out to say, oh, we have gathered intelligence that hoodlums are going to hijack the protest, that miscreants are going to take over, are going to cause
mayhem, damage to buildings.
The law remains that even when you have gathered such intelligence, even when you believe that that protest will turn violent, you do not have the right to stop it. And this is an argument that we have fought and won in courts, including the case of Inspector General of Police and ANPP, where the then General Buhari led members of his party to protest. And the case of, Charlie Boy Oputa and Inspector General of Police, the courts have made this clear. So even when you believe there will be violence, people still have the right to protest.
And this government needs to respect the rule of law. I'd like to move to
Anarchy loans. Anarchy loans. Anarchy.
No more peaceful protests again now. Because peaceful protests know they work. Yes. Peaceful protests, they work. More turn out to one man, more enter so scatter everywhere. More shook, waiting no good. More no.
Bro, calm down. Now stage 2 be that. The first one, the one everybody they talk about, peaceful. Stage 2 is when they now shoot and kill you. Then I will go to stage 2. So in order for you to know that Tinubu and his gang, they do not have any plan to listen to anybody. They only listen to themselves. And if you say something contrary to what they say, then automatically they consider that you are an enemy, their enemy. And once they say you are their enemy, automatically as well, they turn you to the enemy of Nigeria. Meanwhile, they are your enemies. Starting from Tinubu. They are not interested in having a chat around it. They are not interested in fixing anything for you. Nothing. Now go through the hell. If you die, you die. If you live, you live. It's none of their business. And I don't think anybody needs to open your skull to, open your skull and then talk it with that information before you understand. Or do you think so? So they decided to go tribal. They decided to go name calling, finger pointing. And that is dog whistle. Now, in the channels television, they treated the false, misleading information from loudmouth on Opunuga. Remember, long throat as well. So they have something to say on that. So I'll share. Let's go.
Bayo Ononuga, the special advisor on information and strategy to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has come under heavy criticism after he alleged that the supporters of Peter Obi are planning to cause mayhem across the country and that he should be held responsible for anarchy. Bayo made the claim in a post on X and also stated that the protest planners are also the same people who were instigated by Nnamdi Kanu to launch destructive EndSARS protests in Nigeria in October 2020. His tweet reads in part, revealed, Peter Obi's supporters are the people planning mayhem in Nigeria. Obi should be held responsible for anarchy. They are the people spreading the hashtags end bad governance, Tinubu must go, and Revolution 2024. Wow. They are not Democrats, but anarchists. They are attempting to call out our people via propaganda because their messiah, Peter Obi, failed to win the presidency in the 2023 election as bad losers. They don't have the patience to wait for another election in 2027. They would rather destabilize Nigeria by staging a civilian coup against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me take this response from EJ. He wrote, Sir, it is important to acknowledge that Nigerians are experiencing frustration at this time. Yes, there are individuals who will continue to feel discontent after the 2023 election, but that shouldn't be the focus now. The government should prioritize finding solutions to the economic difficulties in the country and show empathy towards the struggles of its people. The Constitution guarantees the right to peaceful protest, which is essential for a healthy democracy. The people should be allowed to do that. Destructive protests, however, I do not support. Well, another user there wrote, he actually posted a video, and I'll play that video, but he wrote, this was Tinubu calling on Nigerians to come out during Jonathan's regime. Let's take a look at that video.
But they will forget the other one. That is what they are doing with your money. Not enough that they are stealing from our children tomorrow for lack of investment in education. They are still embezzling the retirement benefit of hardworking Nigeria, including our grandfathers. They are stealing the port, the treasury, not even leaving some coins for us to war with. Let them be out now.
All right, that is our president. I was a president in 2014 calling, protests are fundamental rights.
I didn't know.
You didn't know?
Egbobayo Nodunga to be a propagandist.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of respect for him based on the work he did and in the struggles in this country. But the propagandist nature, I didn't know that part of him. He's just spreading propaganda. And we would like him to substantiate with empirical facts that is actually Peter Obi camp. And if he doesn't substantiate with empirical facts, Dr. Bati, you're the lawyer, I think he should be sued. Secondly, the one that hurt me the most is he went to mention the likes of them, Professor Patutomi, that had been busy in a fellowship in America, that he was also part of those that are trying to. This is just propaganda. Why is it that those, I repeat, that protested heavily against Jonathan hate protest today? I'll take you back. There's a tweet as made. You see, Twitter has too much receipts. By Bayo Onuga on the 9th of January 2012. You know, as at then, the subsidy protests were still on, Occupy Nigeria. He tweeted, songs of protest sent to me by Omotunde Murtala Bello. So inspiring. Sing it if you speak Yoruba. These were people that were excited about protest in 2012. All I just needed to do was to go check his Twitter. So the question is, what changed? The parameters were empirically better under Jonathan than it is today. As at Jonathan's time, Nigeria was about one of the top 5 investment destinations in Africa. As at Jonathan's time, the economy was well close to 500 billion GDP. Today it has halved to 251 billion GDP. As at Jonathan's time, unemployment rate was not the way it is high today. As at Jonathan's time, we did not have well over 34% inflation. So pound for pound, all the parameters. As at Jonathan's time, if you go and check, the likes of the big companies that are living in Nigeria today were declaring bigger profits. And when they had that protest that they shut this country down for 2 weeks, nobody died. There was never a time that the military that was stationed around the Ganifawa Emi Square area went to shoot protesters. In fact, the only person that died was the overzealous police officer that shot somebody called Demola around Yaya Baton. That was the only incident we recorded. But But look at what happened in EndSARS. Look at all of this. All the time they kept on protesting and making this country ungovernable. Jonathan never for once said, please don't do it. Everybody had a right to protest.
That is it.
So why is it that now that the country is, all the indices are bad, these same people, this same Mr. Bayo Onanuga that tweeted a song of protest sent to him by Murtala Bello on the 9th of January 2012, finds it difficult and start to blame all sorts of people. Anyway, the Labour Party has responded to him. They said they have no hand in it. Obi too has been. If he has the facts that it's actually Obi, he should bring out the empirical facts. Yeah. If he doesn't, he
Bayo Onanuga.
No, he doesn't. We all know he doesn't. That's what they do. He's a propagandist. But talking about those tweets, I got to see some of them myself. One like this. This was on Onanuga in 2012. Why Jonathan was too busy. Pregnant Alicia Keys joins protest for Nigerian girls. 2014. This one was 2014. Here is another one. Subsidy protest. Jonathan calls a pathetic image. Bayo Onanuga. Song of protest sent to me by Omotunde Muritala Bello. So inspiring. Sing it if you speak Yoruba. My take on today's protest, it was the best general strike ever in our country. Peaceful, but mad by Bayo Onanuga. But now, they are the ones who are telling you that those who are hungry and those who are victims of this bad governance, including you that they will give money to, or you that they have probably like emptied your brain, Otide Korofo. People like Onanuga, a total bigot, is there to be your motivational speaker by turning this to Obi Igbo, this and that. Well, yesterday, you heard the Hausa version of the message I'm about to share with you, right? Here is from the same guy.
Hello, good evening. This clip is titled, Federal Government Obsessed with Obi and the Obedience. 48 hours ago, the presidential spokesperson, Mr. Onanuga, alerted the public that in the event of any breakdown of law and order arising from the planned hunger strike in August, Obi and Obedience should be held purely responsible because federal government have discovered a plan that Obi and Obedience are the people behind this agitation for protest. Now, this sounds very comical, historical, comical. Why do I say this? Because he who asserts must prove. Government have all it takes to produce concrete, convincing proofs to the effect of their claim. Short of that, they should please respect themselves and keep quiet. Obi is not responsible for the failure, absolute total failure of the APC government under Tinubu. Obi is not responsible for your reckless borrowings that are not explainable. Obi is not responsible for the hunger in the land. Obi is not responsible for reckless statements. Obi is not responsible for the decline in values. Obi is not responsible for the collapse of businesses. Obi is not responsible for all these derailments, economic and political derailments. Indeed, Obi is a victim of all these incapacities, inadequacies of the current regime. It seems as if the APC government are looking for a person or persons to hang in the event the strike succeeds. Let it be noted clearly that Obi is innocent until proven guilty. Obedience are innocent until they are proven guilty. Unless evidences are made public, we will still assume that this is a speculation taken too far, desperation taken too far, and a total confirmation of failure of a government that is looking and chasing imaginary enemies. Hello.
Yes. Boko Haram, make them come over fight. If you not come over fight, we no go come up for here. So make them come over fight, make it finish. Allahu Akbar. I think and I say and I get power. Make them come over fight. If we no fight, we no go. You know the year? If we no fight, we no go. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. And talking about a throwback, this was Tinubu. And some people, educated people, actually believe this this druggy. But it was pretty much like active, yes, senile, I think, not I.
But they will forget the other one. That is what they are doing with your money. Not enough that they are stealing from our children tomorrow for lack of investment in education. They are still embezzling the retirement benefit of hardworking Nigeria, including our grandfathers. They are stealing the port, the treasury, not even leaving some coins for us to war with. Let them be out. Out now.
Today, Nigeria is challenged. Economically challenged. Physically